Good morning. We're going to reread the book The Bossy Pig today. And today we're going to work on reading words part by part. But before we do that, let's practice some of the snap words that we're going to see as we read this book. Okay, I'm going to circle the word and you tell me what it says. Are you ready? Here we go. The first word is... Yes, we. Let me change my pen here. All right, the next word is yes, will. Come. Her. You. Not. All. And what does this one say? Yes, it says said. Now, as we read today, there's going to be two words that are kind of snap words that I just want to show you because my kids, when I've been reading with my kids, they've been having troubles with these words. So I'm guessing that you might be having trouble too. Maybe, maybe not, but let's review them. This word right here, that's pink, this word says have. Like I have curly hair, or I have two eyes, or I have one nose. The other word that some of my kids have trouble with is this one, because it kind of looks like the snap word went, right? Here's the snap word went, W-E-N-T, but this word has an A in it. It does not say went. This word says want. Like, I want some ice cream. Want. And this is a word that we're going to see as we're reading today. So, tell me, what does this word say? It says have. And what does this word say? Yes, it says want. All right, let's get started. So today, we are going to work on reading words part by part. I know that you know this ending. What does that ending say? Yes, it says ing. Now, we know that if we put a word in front of ing, like the word play, it makes the word say, yes, it makes it say playing. But sometimes we can just put a part in front of the word. So like if we put a brr in front of the ing, it says bring. Or if we put a th in front of the ing, it says thing. Now watch this. If we break up this word part by part, we know that this part says ing, we know that this part says th, we know that these two parts together say thing. Look at this. If we put the word some in front of thing, what does it say? Some thing. We can break it up part by part. Some-ing, something. You want to try it again? What about this word? If we put any in front of thing, what would it say? Anything. What if we put the word every in front of thing? What would it say? It would say everything. Everything. These are three words that we're going to see in our text today. So as we read today, we're going to pay special attention to this part that says ing, because sometimes we use it as an ending, but sometimes it helps us read words part by part. I've highlighted those words, so we'll look at them and I'll let you be the one to read those words as we read today. All right, the bossy pig. The bossy pig. All right, read with me. We will have a picnic on Saturday, Mrs. Pig told her friends. You must come. Mrs. Pig made a list. I want a table and 6 chairs, said Mrs. Pig. I want some juice and some plates. She was a very bossy pig. Let's look at her list. What's the first thing on her list? Yep, table. 6 chairs. Juice. And, yes, plates. Here's a word with the part ing. If we put a brr in front of ing, what does it say? It says bring. So when we get to this word, I'm not going to say it. You're going to read it for me. Got it? Okay. Oh, look what I forgot. Silly Miss J. There's another word right here that has the ing. What does that one say? That one says bring too. Okay, you ready? You're going to read the ones that are highlighted. I can... A blanket, said Mrs. Sheep. A blanket is not on my list, said Mrs. Pig. You... The table. All right, said Mrs. Sheep. Here's that word again. Bur-ing. Okay. Mrs. Pig looked at her list. You... 6 chairs, she told Mrs. Goat. All right, said Mrs. Goat. It's the same word. I know you know how to read it by now. I can... Some milk, said Mrs. Cow. Milk is not on my list, said Mrs. Pig. You... Some juice. She was such a bossy pig. Mrs. Pig looked at her list again. We need plates, she told Mr. Horse. I will... Plates, said Mr. Horse. Oh my goodness, look at all of these words with the part ing. We know what this one says already. Bring. Let's look at this one. If the first part says any, and the last part says thing, the whole word says anything. Look at this one. If the first part says every, and the last part says thing, the whole word says everything. And this one, if the first part says some, and the last part says thing, the whole word says something. Okay, you ready to read these words? Okay, here we go. I know what I can, said Mrs. Owl. Don't bring, said Mrs. Pig. We need. But I know else we need, said Mrs. Owl. Oh, here we have ing just like an ending. If the first part says play, and it has the ending ing, what does it say? Playing. Here we go. All the animals came to the picnic. They played games. Mrs. Cow flew a kite. Stop, said Mrs. Pig. Put the table under that big tree, said Mrs. Pig to Mrs. Sheep. Mrs. Owl will help you. Set up the chairs, said Mrs. Pig to Mrs. Goat. Set the table, she told Mrs. Cow and Mr. Horse. She sure is bossy, isn't she? Mrs. Pig looked at her list one last time. That's it, she said. Now please sit down. I remember what she forgot. Do you remember what she forgot? Where is the food? Asked Mrs. Goat. The food? Asked Mrs. Pig. Oh dear, I forgot the food. Mrs. Owl smiled. You forgot the food, she said, but I didn't. You are a wise, wise owl, said the bossy, bossy pig. Now let's eat. I have a question for you. Mrs. Pig said that the owl was a wise owl. What did she mean by that? What does it mean to be wise? Oh, you think it means to be like smart? I think you're right. The owl was smart, wasn't she? I agree. Wise probably means smart. All right. Yesterday we worked, oh dear, that's covered up. Yesterday we worked to show what happened in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. And here's how we put our pictures. So today I'm just going to let you tell me to retell me the story. What happened in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. Okay? Here you go. Just you. In the beginning, go. Ready? In the middle, go. Yes. And in the end, ready, go. Yes, very good. We retold the story. We said what happened in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. So today and every day, as you're reading, make sure that you're always reading your words part by part. And especially if you see that part ing, I want you to be like, oh, I know this part. It says ing. And then it can help you figure out your word.